Welcome everyone, another episode of Dummies on the Hardwood. I got myself, Bennie. I got Bobby over there right across from me, and Uno's in the middle in place of Isaac today. Isaac's got some tasks he's got to take care of today, so he couldn't be there. He couldn't be here with us today. But anyway, we gonna shoot the shit. We gonna talk today. It's that time of the year. Everybody's having that conversation. We talking about MVP talk.
Right? 15 games left.
Yeah, 15 games. Regular season.
I think 15. Man, that shit went by so fast.
Yeah, games are moving by so quick. And obviously with the season moving by so quick, everybody's deservedly MVP. Especially the top players in the league. You can argue whoever you want, but obviously we have our own opinions on who we think our MVP is. And everybody's been talking about SGA. And honestly, everybody's saying SGA is MVP. Me personally, I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm not feeling SGA as the MVP. I think he's a little bit too overhyped right now, if you ask me.
I'm with you on that. I think the MVP, what it stands for, is the most valuable player. And if you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, yes, I mean, outside of SGA, they have Jalen Williams, they have Chet Holmgren, those two will need to step it up in the playoffs. So the Thunder are right now, I believe, first in the West. I do fully think that they could win games without SGA. And going back to what I meant when I said most valuable player, Nikola Jokić is the most valuable player for the Denver Nuggets, because without Nikola Jokić, they're just the Denver Nuggets, and their offensive rating plummets when he's not on the court.
And so you're saying your MVP is Nikola Jokić.
So that's the point I was going to get to. But yes, Nikola Jokić is my MVP. But in my opinion, I think that the whole SGA scoring for multiple 40-point games, 50-point games, which is great. I'm not denying that 30-point games is great and all that. But at the end of the day, we got to see who's the most valuable player for their team, and the most valuable player for their team is Nikola Jokić. And honestly, I think he should be the 4-time MVP. That's just my honest opinion.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would agree with you on that. And it's not to discredit what SGA has done. Like let's keep it real. SGA has had a phenomenal year. The stats he's putting up, he's leading the league in scoring. I mean, undoubtedly, on paper, he looks like the person who's gonna win the MVP this year, and rightfully so. And I would not be surprised if he wins it over Jokić, right? But again, if you like you mentioned earlier, if you take out SGA, I fully think the Thunder could win without him. Personally, they have enough pieces as is. I mean, the thing with the Thunder, though, the thing that that's going to make it a little harder is they have so many pieces around them. They got defense around the wings, and Caruso and Dort. They got shooting in Case and Wallace, and the stretch big and Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams. He's a point forward practically. I mean, the Thunder are just loaded. And when you look at the Nuggets don't have that. All they have is a point center in Nikola Jokić, who just brings the ball down off the floor, and he's already setting up the offense. He's table setting essentially,
and an inconsistent Michael Porter Jr. And I mean, Jamal Murray. I mean, at this time of the year, he turns it up, but that's neither here nor there. The point is just Nikola Jokić means so much for the Denver Nuggets, and I think for the league too. In my opinion, he's the best player in the world, and that's without a shadow of a doubt. If you want to argue SGA, Jokić, Doncic, hey, by all means. But in my opinion, I think Jokić is the best player in the world, and he's gonna. I think he will be the 4-time MVP. He's shooting career stats across the board. He's in the top 5, I think, in assists, points, and rebounds.
3-point shooting too.
And he's in the top 10 in 3-point shooting. Yeah. I mean, SGA's got multiple 40-point games, a few 50-point games, 30-point games. The dude's a bucket, no denying that. But if you ask me, Nikola Jokić, in my opinion, will win the MVP.
And I mean, like I said, I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I really don't disagree, because I feel like the way he's impacted the Nuggets throughout his tenure is, you can see the difference. When he's off the floor, the Nuggets suck. When he's on the floor, the Nuggets
are good.
Nuggets are exponentially better. You know, and it kind of sucks because, you know, and I don't know how you feel about this, the whole thing with the MVP, you know, being on the best team, because that's how it's always been throughout the years, right? I mean, when Jokic won it, I mean, he's practically been, the Nuggets have been in practically top 3 out west, right? You know, I don't know. It's just kind of, it's just going to be so unfair, man. I feel like, you know, if you ask me, I think SGA is going to win it. Right. And again, like I said, he rightfully deserves it because he's on a winning team and they got pieces and they're touted as the champions for this year. Although my personal opinion is I would not be surprised if they get knocked off by the Nuggets. Right. Just because the thing that's killing me is like just the experience. We've seen them in the playoffs last year, like when they played against Minnesota.
Yeah.
Or was it Dallas? It was Dallas.
Going back to that point, it does suck that, you know, unfortunately, you know, your team's record will take into account how you performed. So I get that. So if we're going that way, SGA may win it, you know, but in my personal opinion, I think Nikola Jokic should win it just because of what he's doing this year. I mean, a ridiculous 30-20-20 game.
I was about to bring that up.
Come on now, 30-20-20 game. Literally, the man is just, he's on another planet in terms of talent. There's no other player in this league who is on Nikola Jokic's level. He's on a level of his own. SGA, he's on a level of his own too. You know, will he win it? Possibly, and if he does, rightfully so, because he's been playing like one this year. You know, but I wouldn't be surprised if Nikola Jokic did win it.
Yeah, he's sneaky. But I mean, also too, it's like you kind of got to look at, you know, when we think of the top players in the league, right? We talk about the Jokic's, we talk about the LeBrons, we talk about the Shai SGAs. You know, we each player brings their own sort of like a aura, and the thing is, you know, SGA, he has an aura, and that's what people feed off of. You know what I mean? Like, he goes out there, he brings that swag. He's a smooth, slithery finisher. I mean, Jokic is just basic, fundamental basketball, right? So, I mean, also, too, you got to take into account the appeal, I guess, what's going to appeal to the fans more, right? Obviously, Jokic, no doubt, because, you know, he's literally the best European basketball player, in my opinion, that I've seen. You know, you can argue Doncic, you can argue a bunch of, you know, other players. But it's just SGA just has that aura about him, and he just comes out there. He's, you know, iced out,
silky
smooth. You know what I mean? And the way he carries himself in the interviews, he brings that little cocky and arrogance. He brings that little cockiness and arrogance, and I think that's what the league is kind of pushing for in that direction. Because Jokic is that stoic, cool, calm, collected. You know, people want a little drama, and they're gonna get the little bit of drama with SGA. I mean, granted, he's not a bad person. You know, by all means, I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm just saying, like, he brings that aura that, you know, I guess the NBA is looking for in an MVP. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I can see that. SGA does go out there, and he does bring the drip every game, and his game backs it up. That aura backs up his game. I mean, the dude's got incredible footwork. You know, I was thinking last night too about the game against the Pistons.
Yeah, man.
You know, that was a really interesting game. Before we delve into there, you know, SGA, in my opinion, you know, he had a phenomenal game. He had like 48 last night, damn near 48 points. He was just balling against the Pistons. And for you, those of you who have been living underneath the rock, JB Bickerstaff went out and said basically to the effect of, you know, we got to have the same level of respect for all players in this league, you know. And it's true, you know, SGA and Nikola Jokic are going to get called differently versus, let's say a Dalton Connect or a Peyton Pritchard
or Cade Cunningham.
You know, it's just keeping it a buck. That's just the truth, you know. And so, you know, I didn't watch the full game highlights, but I saw SGA. I saw Cade Cunningham's technicals, his ejections. You know, you guys could leave comments in the comment section, but what are your thoughts on that, Benny?
I mean, look, at the end of the day, when you're a star player, you know, outside of LeBron, you know, LeBron, Shai Gilgeous, Giannis, any star player you can think of, top 10 tier elite talent, you're going to get your calls.
It's the bottom line.
It's what's going to happen, right? Cade Cunningham, I'm not saying he's up there, but he's definitely peaking up there to, in my opinion, my personal opinion, he's easily like a top 15 player. Top 15.
I think he might be most improved in my opinion.
He definitely deserves it. I would not be surprised. But yeah, it just highlights the fact that, like what we were talking about last night. It's just these players, you got to earn your stripes in the league. And don't get me wrong, Cade Cunningham, he's worked his tail off to get to where he's at. He's a hell of a fucking player. And he's single-handedly carrying the Pistons. This man can carry a team. Like, it's all proven right there with his track record and stuff. But again, you're not going to get those calls if you're not SGA or Giannis. Everybody keeps saying SGA doesn't, he flops or he acts a little bit too much. It's hit or miss, man. Look, I'm not gonna sit here and bash the guy because the guy's just he knows how to finish around the rim. I mean,
let's be real. Mostly every NBA player embellishes just a little bit to a degree.
Does it,
to
man.
A degree, everybody embellishes
get that call.
But when you're a superstar player and you even just make the slightest flinch, you're gonna get the call every single time. And SGA did that, but he dropped 48 points last night in a win against the Detroit Pistons. And Cade Cunningham got ejected. JB Bickerstaff had some words. For those of you, go ahead and go on Bleacher Report and check that out. But all in all, going back, we segued a little bit, but that was a kind of a good segue into the Pistons, but into that officiating and all that. But I want to go back into the Nikola Jokić and SGA debate. Whoever you vote for as your MVP, you're not wrong. If you say SGA's MVP, great. I'm not going to debate you because he's been putting up MVP type numbers. If you say Nikola Jokić, great. Nikola Jokić has been putting up MVP type numbers. Nobody's wrong in this. Nobody's wrong. All I'm saying is I think Nikola Jokić should win MVP. But let me ask you this though. We can accept one thing, right? Clearly, the two clear-cut MVP candidates are SGA and Nikola Jokić. That's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Nobody else.
Yeah, we can talk about other players, man. Don't get me wrong. Everybody else brings a certain level of impact to their team. You can talk about Giannis, Tatum, everybody else. But, they're nowhere as near as impactful as Jokić and Shai Gilgeous to their team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is that unquestionable leader. You can see it. You can see it the way he carries himself. You can see from his play, right? He doesn't talk a lot of trash. He backs it up. He walks the walk and he talks the talk. And that's what I love about him as a player. And when the Clippers gave him up, man, that you're probably still punching air.
Clippers still punching air right now, and you traded for PG-13. It's not a win, Clipper fans. I'm sorry. The trade is not a win. You guys lost.
Yeah, and then you
guys lost a superstar.
And then you got. I saw reports. I don't know if you heard. The Sixers are exploring a PG trade. I'm not surprised about that.
I'm not surprised either.
That's another topic. But again, SGA, he's just homegrown. He's a homegrown kid. He's homegrown talent. I think he's gonna. I think, in my opinion, he's the face of the league.
You think so?
I personally think he's the face of the league. Just the way he carries himself. The way he composes himself, the way he plays, the aura, the swag, everything about him just oozes like face of the league, right? And that's just my opinion, right? You can argue Anthony Edwards, you can argue Jason Tatum.
Yeah, I could say, for me, I would say Anthony Edwards, in my opinion, is the face of the league. There's a difference between being the face of the league and being the best player in the league. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I agree.
Nikola Jokić is the best player in the league. The face of the league, in my opinion, though, is Anthony Edwards. And the reason why, for me, Anthony Edwards is the face of the league is because he brings that confidence every single night. Does he talk a little bit too much? Yeah, he talks a little bit too much, but his game backs it up. He's got a cockiness. He's got that confidence when he walks out on the court. I'm the best motherfucking player out here and nobody can stop me. And his game backs it up. Right now, the Wolves are surging, and he's also got his own, he's got his own sense of humor. He has fun out there when he's on the court. He talks shit to other players and stuff like that, but it's all love at the end of the day.
But couldn't we argue too, if we're talking about faces of the league, and obviously, with the keeping in line with the MVP talk, right? Jokić should be the face of the league.
He should be, but and like I said, there's a difference between, in my opinion, there's a difference between being the face of the league and being the best player in the league.
Go ahead and define that for anybody who's curious.
For me, the best player in the league is the player he's up there. He's the best he like Nikola Jokić, talented. No one can stop him on a given night. Anthony Edwards is the same. You can't stop him on a given night. But the face of the league is somebody who this younger generation of fans are looking at. People can look at a Nikola Jokić and be like, wow, he's the greatest player in the league. But are they going to say he's the face of the league? No, he's one of the best. He's the best player in the league. But when you see Anthony Edwards, you see his game, you see how he walks up, you see how he holds himself, you see how he's taken that step forward this season of being a leader, and he's got the confidence, he's got the game to back it up. Who are kids going to be looking at? Nikola Jokić or Anthony Edwards? In my opinion, I think people are going to be looking at Anthony Edwards and like, wow, yeah, this guy, in my opinion, is the face of the league.
Exactly. And just the way that you said it, like, I could make a case for SGA because, just the way, like, you could make the case for him being, obviously, he's not the best player in the league. That's just I'm making that very clear.
Yeah.
I think Jokić is better than him. That's just me. But I think he symbolizes the face of the league, right? So people want to play like him. People want to, look at Curry. Curry changed the game, right? Curry's literally, he's the reason why 3-point shooting is relevant now because of what he did, and he's arguably one of the top 3 players of all time in my eyes. And so just the way SGA plays and just the way he obviously he can work on his 3-point shot a little bit. If he can get that up just a smidge, up to close to 40%, I don't know what his numbers are this year, but if he can get it up there, I mean, this dude's already lethal as is. But, his handles, his shooting, his finishing, this man represents the face of the league. And, he has the potential chance to do something, obviously from what you're saying, Anthony Edwards being the face of the league. When you're the face of the league, right, you're talented, you have all this, you got to be able to carry your team, you got to be able to compose yourself. And that's why I feel like Anthony Edwards doesn't.
I can see that. And that's what I'm saying. Anthony Edwards has some improvements. He can definitely improve on his maturity level. But, in terms of just like, who are fans going to be who are fans wanting to see, and that's Anthony Edwards. Because the dude's funny. Just face it.
He is.
Would you sit and have a conversation with Anthony Edwards if he were here?
Yeah,
Hell yeah, I would. SGA's dope too. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think SGA is he's cool as shit. He's dope, and his game backs it up. And he's got that leadership mentality. He leads his team. He leads by example. He doesn't say too much. And, everybody has their own types of leadership styles, and nothing's wrong with it. Anthony Edwards is more of that assertive, that alpha dog energy. SGA's that calm, cool, collected alpha dog energy, while Anthony Edwards is that assertive, that like I'm gonna get in your face type of assertiveness type energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, and you said it, everybody's got their own way of carrying.
Yeah, and there's no way, and there's no wrong way of how you carry yourself. It's just the fact of the matter is both have their own styles, and you could make a case for both of them being the faces of the league.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really good that you brought up that distinction between just being the greatest in the league versus the face of the league. I think we need to really clear that up with certain people because most fans, just assume that just because you're the greatest player in the league, you're the face of the league, and it doesn't work like that.
And take a look, and look at like LeBron James. His reign in the 2010s.
Absolutely,
he was the best player in the league, hands down. You can make a case. I hear people saying, "Oh, what about Kevin Durant? Oh, what about Steph? What about?" You can make the case. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue with you. But the bottom line is, LeBron James has that aura about him that's different,
and that's what I'm saying with SGA.
And people hate on LeBron because LeBron James, he's the greatest basketball player on the planet, and probably in all of NBA history, in my opinion, one of the best. The best, in my opinion, in NBA history. And he goes out there, he talks his talk, but he walks his walk. And that's the thing. If you can talk your talk and walk your walk, yeah, and then you carry yourself as like, I'm the best motherfucker in this league. Can't nobody guard me. And that's LeBron James' mentality. And he goes out there and he does it every single night in the 2010s. Now that he's in his 40s, he's still playing like MVP LeBron in 2013, 2014. If you look up his stats, But you know, it's just the way LeBron carried himself. You know, I'm confident, I'm cocky, you know, I'm the best player and can't nobody stop me. And he let people know. And he's that type where he's that assertive and he's going to let you know.
And it's interesting that we're talking about this because Jokić and SGA, they're two completely different players. But they're the same in how their game is played. You see Jokić talk shit? No.
Rarely. Yeah, nope.
You see SGA talk shit?
Nope.
Not really. So those two players,
except his bars on Instagram.
Yeah, he got some fire bars. Yeah, he got some fire bars, man. But you know, those two, they just have a way of carrying themselves. You know, like I said, they're two different players. They play two different games, right? But I mean, Nikola Jokić, the one thing I will say about him that just in my eyes makes him, you know, just again the best player on the planet as of right now. You know, not disregarding LeBron or Steph or anybody else, is what he's done for the center position. I mean, who in a million years would think a 7-footer would just dribble the ball down the floor? Now you got Wemby, granted, you got Wemby now. You can literally being 7 foot, dribble the ball down the floor, pass, shoot the ball, set up the offense. Who would ever think that? And look at now we got someone like Victor Wembanyama. Look at Wemby. He's 7'4" and he's dribbling the ball down the floor. I mean, like, we've never seen that shit. So, also, too, you can make the case that Jokić also helped transform the game. In my opinion, he did for the center position. Because think about it. If you're a traditional center in this league, unless you can play really good defense and you can have a somewhat decent mid-range jump shot, you're going to find minutes. If you don't, you're not going to find any. You know what I mean? Look at Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond was one of the best centers in the 2010s.
And he was why? Because in the 2010s, for those of you who don't really know basketball that well, in the 2010s, the game was played more in the low post.
Exactly.
And you know, games were going up to like 100 to like 98, you know, 100 to 98 points. They weren't going to like 130, 140 now that you see now.
With the three ball.
They emphasized back then, you know, getting the ball in the post and scoring. Andre Drummond was one of those players where if you put him back in the 2010s, he's a 2020 player easily.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, I mean 20 rebounds per game. I think he's still one of the active leaders in rebounds.
Exactly.
And not many people remember that, but that's what happened when, you know, you have a one-dimensional game. You slowly fade out. What happened to Andre Drummond? He faded out because the game turned into more of a three-point shot. Who can score the most threes? They went outside more than they did inside,
especially for the center position.
Yeah, and the center position too. You know, centers back then, you know, they didn't have a decent jump unless you're Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah, Dirk.
Tim Duncan.
Yeah, you can say Dirk.
Tim Duncan, Patrick Ewing, David. You can make the case for them. Had a nice little mid-range shot.
Yeah, it's what you need nowadays.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, but back in the 2010s, you know, I mean, the ball, it was a slower pace, in my opinion. It was a slower pace game. And Andre Drummond just got ran out of the gym.
And the thing is, you know, obviously that all changed when Steph came into the league.
When Steph came into the league, I mean, he just revolutionized the game like you mentioned earlier. I mean, the three-point shot now has become so valuable. And teams are shooting at least, 40, 50 attempts per game.
Like the
Boston Celtics.
They hacked up everything.
The Houston Rockets, back when James Harden was with Houston, just shooting three balls. And that's what killed him in that Game 7, if we go all the way back then. Warriors, Rockets, Game 7, Rockets lost because they relied too much on the three ball. That's just it. And, you know, and so, yeah, the way Nikola Jokić, getting back to Nikola Jokić, yeah, he revolutionized the game for centers. You know, I think no center now can
besides
Wemby, you know, has the ability to be able to shoot the three ball at a pretty not a respectable, but a pretty fucking good clip.
43%. Jesus Christ.
Deep, top 10 in the league. Who can dime the ball like a point guard? Who can finish around the rim? Got a smooth, soft, feathery touch. Can rebound the ball. At 11 rebounds per game? He's almost averaging a triple fucking double. How is this man this is why Nikola Jokić, in my opinion, is the MVP. Where in this have you seen somebody do this? You've seen Kobe drop 30 points. 30, 40, 50 points in a season. One MVP, great. you know? But where have you seen centers do this?
30-20-10.
30-20-10, 30-30-20-20, you know? Where have you seen 40-20-10s? He's putting up my player stats.
Yeah.
Literally.
Oh, my God.
This dude's a walking cheat code. You know? That's why Nikola Jokić is the MVP, because we are seeing things from that center position that we have never seen before. Never. Wembanyama's going to be the next one up. He's the next one up.
Oh, yeah.
The dude's he's an alien. He's just ridiculous.
Once he gets back, man, the league's over.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn good out there.
So that's why Nikola Jokić also is my MVP, because we're seeing things that we haven't seen before from the center position. He shoots like he has the handles. He can shoot like a guard, and he could finish at the rim, and he could rebound like a big. Who has done that before? Tell me a big that's done that before.
I can't recall.
You know?
I can't recall.
And SGA, I mean, yeah, it's putting 30, 40 points per game. Great. And goes back to how valuable is it for your team. If you take out SGA from the Thunder can still win. You take Nikola Jokić away from the Nuggets, they'll lose.
That's a fact.
You can
That's
see
straight
it.
a fact. Say it louder for the people in the
and
back.
that is why, in my opinion, you know, I know that they're going to look at the records. I get it. I understand that. But, you know, you need to look at the collective whole and see, you know, who is more valuable. If you take a step back and you take away the record, you take away Jokić from the Nuggets, and you take away SGA from the Thunder, who's more valuable? Who's more valuable?
I would say Jokić.
Yeah,
Definitely Jokić.
Jokić is, without Jokić, the Nuggets are a first round exit. My opinion, first round exit.
They probably wouldn't make the play-in.
They probably wouldn't make the yeah, right. They probably wouldn't make the play-in. You take away SGA from the Thunder, where do you think they're going to go? Maybe second round, third round.
I think they finished top 5.
Top 5, and in the playoffs, maybe, you know, they'll go to the second round. There'll be a second round, maybe a finals exit. You know, that just goes to show you how valuable Nikola Jokić is. And that's why he's the 4-time, in my opinion, should be a 4-time MVP.
Point for the camera. 4-time.
4-time MVP.
4-time MVP.
Nikola Jokić is more valuable to the Denver Nuggets than SGA is for the OKC Thunder.
Man, that shit hit differently. Look, like I said before, I would not be surprised, because like I said, they're gonna take a look at the season and, you know, where the teams stand and stuff like that. I just feel like, you know, with SGA, and you know,
go ahead.
No, it's just what I'm saying is SGA. We can't deny that both of these players bring some sort of value to their team. Let's just cut through the chase. We can agree on that.
Yep, both
right?
valuable to their teams.
Yep, they're both valuable to the teams in some regard. Jokić is way more valuable than SGA, right? I'm just sorry. I'm saying for what it is, right? I love SGA. I think he's, you know, in my opinion, the face of the league. But Jokić, man, he just has it all. He brings it all.
And you know what? This is another point I want to make. We got to take into account Jokic's games missed. He doesn't miss many games.
Never.
The average person who's watching the Nikola Jokić be like, that man plays 82 games a season plus the regular season plus the postseason. Nikola Jokić doesn't miss games. He'll probably miss like 3, 4, 5. He plays through pain. SGA's first few seasons in the league, he's had some up and downs with injuries, and I think this is the first time. I think it's one of the first times.
Yeah, he's been consistent.
First times that we've seen him. I may be wrong, so if I'm wrong, leave a comment in the comment section. But you know, SGA versus Jokić in terms of like who plays more, Nikola Jokić. Nikola Jokić is the hub, you know, and he's the most available player in the league. Most available. He's not going to sit out. SGA sat out a few games. Oh, I need a rest. Not bad. I mean, you got to rest. But I'm just saying, you know, if we're going to be real, we're going to see it for what it is. Who plays through pain more, Nikola Jokić or SGA?
Nikola
Jokić.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, we can go on and on, man. There's so many different barometers we can set for like what makes the player more impactful. But the bottom line that we agree on, and you know, as for today's title of this episode, is the NBA MVP is
Nikola Jokić.
4 times.
Four-time
It's gonna happen.
MVP.
4-time MVP. No disregard to SGA. I like Jokic more, but hey, if you disagree with us, if you feel like you have a better MVP that you want to put up there, I mean, I can't really think of anybody else who's outside of those two. I mean, you could say Giannis, you could say Tatum, yeah, you could say LeBron, whatever. It doesn't matter. But you can't disagree. You can't argue that those 2 players, Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, are literally neck and neck, right? Wouldn't you agree with that?
I 100% agree with that.
All right. Yep. And with that being said, do you have any more thoughts or anything like that? Or
No, but if you guys do have any anything you want to comment on, if you feel like you disagree with us, leave a comment in the comment section. We love to engage with our fans, so if you disagree with us, say we're wrong, SGA's better than Jokic, or if you have an entirely other MVP, leave a comment in the comment section.
Yeah. Tell us if we're fucking idiots. It's all good with us, man.
We don't fucking care.
Yeah, as you can see, we really don't fucking care. But anyway, we want to give a big shout out to all of our fans, everybody who's supporting us. Thank you for the love. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify. We are on all platforms. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your night.
Good night, guys.